Hey guys, welcome to this session by Intellipaat. Machine learning is one of the most trendiest careers to have right now. There are multiple languages that support it, be it Python, be it R programming language, and of course Java, the king of all programming languages, right? So keeping that in mind, we here at Intellipaat have come up with this Java machine learning video to give you a lot of insight on the same. Well guys, before we begin with the session, make sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so that you'll never miss any updates from us. So coming to the agenda of the session, we'll start out by taking a quick look at a couple of machine learning facts. After understanding this, let's take a fast-paced introduction to what machine learning is and of course why we require machine learning. And after that, we can check out all the tools that are present for us to go on to work with machine learning. And of course, the most important thing is that we'll check out the advantages of using Java for machine learning. Now, after this, there are many libraries in Java which support for machine learning. We're going to check out all of those libraries. And of course, I'll be giving you tips on how you can begin your journey to learning Java for machine learning as well. And at the end of it, we're going to be discussing the average salary of Java machine learning engineers and of course the career trends that follow as well. Well guys, without further ado, let's start the class. Even before we check out the first point on the agenda, we really need to discuss some very important machine learning facts that you might or might not know. For example, did you know that artificial intelligence and machine learning is actually helping us a lot in combating the COVID-19 pandemic that's happening right now? Well, it should actually not come as a surprise to you guys, but artificial intelligence and machine learning, there was a company who actually started picking up the rise in the number of pneumonia cases around Wuhan, China, way back when, WHO announced. In fact, it was actually 2 3 weeks even before WHO announced that, there was a new virus among us. So when you look at it, AI and ML have sort of helped in detecting the pandemic, and now these technologies are being put into full swing to see how it can help combat the pandemic itself. And then coming to the second point, whenever we talk about businesses, it's always we talking about the present or how we can better the future with respect to the product, the brand, or the sales value, right? In that particular case, a lot of research has come to the common consensus that you can achieve somewhere around 95% accuracy while forecasting a lot of things in business. For example, sales numbers, it can be regional outreach to the people, it can be the number of prospects you get, prospects to customer conversion rates, all of this, right? So you can with the help of machine learning, you can actually predict this 95% of the time. So without using this, there's a good chance you cannot get to half of the accuracy that is achievable. And now when you're thinking about having that extra edge over your competition, that's definitely going to help make or break a business in today's world, right? And 95% is such an amazing number, and I'm sure you guys know the value of that as well. Now, coming to the rise of explainable AI solutions that we have, right? Here's a wonderful fact for you guys. There was a time back in the day, not so long ago, when you had machine learning algorithms and you had AI solutions which could probably answer only yes or no, right? So if you're gonna ask an AI chatbot saying, "Is it going to rain today?" It's gonna either say yes or no. Now this explainable AI, so it's gonna give you a validation. It's gonna give you an explanation basically instead of just saying yes or no. So it has the complete capability to gel into our lives, to talk more humanly to us rather than talking like a computer. So this kind of a achievement, this kind of a feat in the world of AI and machine learning is definitely something that the world is looking forward to. And if you're wondering about if this is the future, well, let me tell you, we're already living in this kind of a future, because in today's world, when you look at it, right, see, for example, the Google Assistant on your phone, be it Siri, be it Cortana, be it Alexa, all of these solutions are all explainable AI solutions out there right now, and it's growing faster and it's getting better and better, right? So that particular case, machine learning is having an amazing impact in today's world. When we talk about security, right, the biggest concern we have is threats around us, be it in the online world or in the real world too. In that particular case, machine learning is one of the most sought after domains where we're trying to provide the best security possible in terms of biometric security. It's considered to be almost unbeatable in a way. I would not say unbeatable, of course, because for every lock there is a key, as one would suggest, and in this particular case, for every tight-knit security solution there will be a hacker who might outsmart the best security methodologies out there, right? But then when you think about it, it's extremely difficult to outsmart a a very powerful computer at its own game. In that particular case, machine learning is adding a lot of value to security, and in this world of privacy, in this world of our data being online, our finances being online, I think it's very, very important that we know that machine learning is helping us there too. So next up, on the agenda of this machine learning with Java video, let's take a quick introduction to understand what machine learning is. Well, if you're at this video, there is a good chance you might not. Well, if you're at this video, there's a good chance you might already know what machine learning is. So let's not delve too deep into the introduction. But you have to understand that machine learning is one of these fields. It's a subset of artificial intelligence where we train machines to go on and handle data on their own and give us information at the end of it without us having to program it at every single step or the way. See, data is considered to be a raw entity and information is considered to be a processed entity which is obtained through the data, right? Think of it like food. You can buy raw food from the grocery stores and the supermarket, but then once you cook it and you put it on your plate, that sort of becomes information, right? It's the same analogy here. But then the entire cooking process, that's not taken care by us, that's taken care by machines. That's another analogy which is a beautiful explanation to what machine learning can be, because you are not programming the machine every single step of the way to tell how it should convert the data into required information, but at the end of the day it's learning that on its own using a certain set of standard algorithms and of course working with that too. Now when you're thinking about a quick example, you're telling the machine saying, hey, this is an apple. You're going to show another example, couple of images saying all of these are apples, right? So you're going to first show some data to the machine and say, it's an apple or not. And now as soon as you show a green apple, the machine's going to be like, whoa, this human didn't train me on what that is like, right? So it's all like 3 or 4 red apples and it's like, it's an apple. Yes, it's an apple. It understood it. And then there was a green apple out there. So it was like, whoa, look at this object. The human never told me about any of these. It thinks that, it's similar to what I saw previously. Hence, it's an apple. So that is where the machine learning aspect of things come, right? So it learned on its own saying, okay, so it has the same shape of it, so this could be an apple, and it's going to give you the probability of saying there's a 70% chance or an 80% chance that this is an apple. That's going to be the actual output of this very quick animative example, guys. So coming to the next point on the agenda, you might have a question saying, okay, so why machine learning at all, right? So let's think about this really beautiful example that I always pick up. In 2016, Google's DeepMind team came up with a beautiful solution with machine learning and artificial intelligence, and it was called AlphaGo. So what happened? The person that you see on the screen is Lee Sedol. Lee Sedol is a multiple-time world champion in the board game called as Go. It's considered to be the world's most difficult board game out there right now. It takes a lot of skill, it takes a lot of practice, and of course it takes a lot of logic to use a lot of brain power to actually go and win a game in Go. And AlphaGo was an artificial intelligence computer which went heads up against Lee Sedol, and it won a couple of matches to show that you can be the most intelligent human out there to play the game of Go. But then as soon as Google's DeepMind stepped in, it is like machine can definitely win at this game too. So multiple games AlphaGo won, and it showed that in a way that it was really possible to beat the unbeaten Lee Sedol at his own game. That particular case, it is definitely something, and all of this was powered by machine learning. All of this was powered by artificial intelligence. So what can we take away something from AlphaGo, right? And of course, guys, if you haven't watched a documentary on this, there's a documentary on their own YouTube channel, so make sure to check that out after this video. Now, coming to the actual takeaway, right? It's not that there's a machine which could play a very complex game as Go, and of course it tried to conquer it, and it was the better of the human. That's not the goal here. The goal is for us to show, in fact, the goal of Google DeepMind team was to show that machines have the capability to mimic a human brain to almost a frightening extent, right? So it takes a lot of skill, a lot of logic, and it takes a lot of human thinking to win a game called as Go. And then now when you think about a machine which stands unbeaten and even in front of the best, Go players across the entire world right now. Well, that just shows how far we have come with machines and how intelligent we've been with this as well. If you guys can remember, way back in the 90s, there was an IBM computer called Deep Blue that did the same thing to Gary Kasparov, the chess grandmaster as well. And now, right from the IBM days to the days of Google's DeepMind, we definitely have come a long way. So when you're thinking about how big machine learning is getting, right? See, there's a 43% growth right from 2018 all the way to the predicted 2024 numbers, saying it's going to be worth $30.6 billion. Yes, the entire ML market, right? Now, when you think about it, you have startups, you have mid-tier companies, and you have full-blown multinational companies who are pouring millions of dollars every single year into research on machine learning. Why are they doing this? They're doing this because at the end of the day, they know the worth of machine learning. They know what value it will drive to their business. And if they use it to the best of their ability, it's going to give them an edge over their competition. It's going to help put their products across the map. And of course, it's going to make things really, really smart without having to use a lot of manpower, right? So for all of those reasons, there's no wonder that machine learning is growing to be a beautiful domain right now, which is extremely popular. So machine learning is at the top of its game right now. I'll tell you why. One thing is that it's one among the top 10 careers to have in 2021 and beyond, and of course it's always in demand because everyone out there want a machine learning engineer in one way or another. There's an amazing salary payroll out there, be it a beginner, even though you're an intermediate user or an advanced user, you will know that the salary trends of being a machine learning engineer is amazing. And of course, if you have friends in the field of machine learning, right, do talk to them and ask them about their job satisfaction, because 9 or 10 of all the machine learning people, engineers that I've met are extremely happy with their jobs, because one thing, they know that they're having a huge impact on the business that they're dealing with, or it's just that they have an amazing salary to start their careers with. They enjoy their job, they're learning a lot. And it's really good. So if you do have friends, I would highly suggest you talk to them about the last point, because you will get real life validation instead of me just showing it on a PPT, and I think that will add a lot of value to your life. So then, coming to the tools that are used to learn machine learning, right? See, one of the most common things whenever someone talks about machine learning is Python. Python, and of course now we have our programming language as well. So whenever the talk is about data science, whenever the talk is about data analysis, these two programming language always come to the center stage. People will say, if you want to learn machine learning, learn Python. If you want to learn data analysis and go into data visualization and all of that, learn the R programming language, right? I will tell you one thing. These two programming languages are at the top of its game for sure, because Python is of course the world's #1 programming language out there, and R is a very, very powerful programming language out there too. But then there's one more language you really have to talk about, is Java. See, Java is actually an extremely popular programming language. It's used by millions and millions of people across the globe right now. One thing you really have to know is that Java was the king of all programming languages before Python came about, and Python is holding the #1 spot while Java is holding the #2 spot as of now. Now, there's a reason for its popularity, is that it's extremely easy to use, and it's that it's in demand. It's not that everyone across the globe, 500,000 people or a billion people cannot move from Java to Python in a day. Even if they choose to, Java is extremely good at a lot of things that Python is not good at. In that particular case, there is a demand for Java developers across the globe continuously. So after this video, or in fact pause this video, go to Indeed.com or any of the job hunt sites of your favorite choice basically, and just search for Java developers role or Java machine learning. You'll understand that there's extreme amounts of openings that you definitely can leverage on, even though you might be a fresher. If you're even in college, there are a lot of internship opportunities as well. So why do we have this kind of a boom and this kind of a requirement for Java? Of course, it's extremely easy to use, but there's an amazingly friendly and a huge developer base, right? See, there's literally millions and millions of Java developers out there right now. All of these guys are working for their own products, their own brands, or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, Java is an open source programming language, and when something is open source, it's gonna have a lot of attention to it. So learning Java for machine learning, you really have to know all of this and the other points involved. That is extremely powerful, and at the end of the day, you can do a lot of things with a lot less syntax, in my opinion. So coming to the next section, we can discuss the actual advantages of using Java for machine learning, right? The two most important points we have to start out with the discussion is that one, Java is a portable language, right? You can write it on your iPad if you want to, MacBook. You can go onto a PC. You can write it on a Linux machine. You can write it on a Windows machine. You can basically write Java wherever you want, because at the end of the day, it has no native ties to the operating system or the hardware there. It makes it portable. And this is one of the most important reasons of why Java became so popular too. If it's portable, you can write code from anywhere you want. The second point is that it's extremely easy to implement code, because as I told you, the entire approach of how Java became famous is about you writing as less code as possible to have as big of a result as possible, right? So small code, big result. That was the entire foundation of how Java came about, and that has sort of stuck through for a last 1 or 2 decades, in a way where everyone now understands that it is really easy to use if you know the programming language, if you're trained in it. And of course, at the end of the day, you can have a lot of impact on the program itself that you're writing if you are trained to write code in Java. And then, do I really have to talk about Java being object oriented? Because I'm sure, guys, most of you viewers out here, you might have heard of object oriented programming, you might have used it in another language, or you know how it works. But then you have to understand that when you're working in a production environment, when you're working, in an actual big project kind of a situation, having a language which is object oriented will make things so structured, so easy to use, and it's so veritable at the end of the day, because you can have a lot of structured methodologies through which you're writing the program itself, and of course when you're debugging it too. So in that aspect, it being object oriented, Java, it's really an amazing thing. And then when we talk about the community support, as I told you, it's open source. It's gonna have a huge community out there. We ourselves have a community. It's called as Intellipaat community. Make sure to put that up in a new tab and check that out as well. So you have to understand that the community support that you get, no matter if you're a fresher or an intermediate user, if you have a problem with something that you're writing, a piece of code that you're writing or a solution that you're trying to implement to a problem, you can reach out to multiple forums out there online, and there'll be people who are more than happy to help you out with your problem in case if they know the answer to that. Because it's not like people will not help you because you will grow or something like that. That's really not the case here. Because everyone wants to make sure that each other developer in this kind of a field, in the family of Java, feels extremely welcome and supported as well. So in that particular case, this is an amazing point to talk about. And then when I talk about Java applications and development tools that exist, right? See, look around you. There's a very good chance, on your phone, on your PC, on your laptop, or wherever it is, there is a Java application running one way or another. You have to run games, you require Java in some way. You have to run media players, you might require Java in another way. So I just gave you two very simple examples, but 9 out of 10 things that we might do on our phones might require Java in one way or another, in the most simplistic form, of course. Now, in that particular case, when it's as big as this, now think about bringing in another ocean worth of technology such as machine learning into this, right? So it's definitely win-win. And there are a lot of development tools out there for Java. You have Eclipse, which is a beautiful IDE, and you have many other frameworks that we're going to discuss now. But you really have to understand is that there's no harm in picking up. But you have to understand that there's going to be a huge trend right now or pretty soon with people jumping on the Java train to make use of machine learning, because Python and machine learning, people have already exploited it almost, and they're seeing more powerful solutions through packages. And after doing that, people want a little bit of a challenge to make sure that the machines can get more efficient or not, right? In that particular case, using Java for machine learning is one of the ways where developers are sort of very keen to do it, and it's happening right now. So with that in mind, I'm sure you guys will be wondering about what are the libraries that exist for machine learning with respect to Java, right? I think one of the most famous libraries that we have to talk about is deep learning for Java, or it's also called as DL4J. This is one of the libraries that is very popular whenever someone wants to make use of machine learning. Here, there's Java Virtual Machine. You can make use of a programming language like Kotlin. You can scale it across multiple. You can use the power of distributed computing basically with the use of Scala and a lot of other things, right? So if you just go onto Google and just type DL4J or deep learning for Java, you will realize that it's an ocean worth on its own. But then my point here is to not overwhelm you guys with anything, because see, with the right amount of training, I'm really sure that each and every one of you here can become experts, be it in Java libraries or be it the entire machine learning with Java aspect as well. Now, one thing about deep learning for Java that you really have to know is that, again, it's an open source library. It has very good support for writing your own APIs, and it has very good documentary for building and using APIs. And deep learning for Java supports the use of multiple programming languages out there whenever you have to, work with, more than one programming language. For example, maybe a wrapper language or so. And then, of course, the support for Hadoop and Apache Spark, right? See, whenever we talk about Apache Spark and Hadoop, you really have to know we're talking about distributed computing. We'll be talking about big data and how best we can ingest the data, work with it, and share a programming load across multiple computers in a network or an array, right? So in that particular case, using all of these and having the support to just use this is something which deep learning for J outshines the other Java libraries, in my opinion. And then, of course, the second Java library we have to talk about is Weka. Weka is now a very, very, very popular Java library. It supports a lot of things, but for primary reasons, whenever we talk about machine learning, we talk about data mining, how we can pick up insights from the data that we cannot with the naked eye. And of course, you can talk about any sort of algorithms and working, right? You'll have classification, you'll have types of regression, you have clustering and all of that, right? So even if you're a person who doesn't know what classification is, regression is, or clustering is, looking at the graphs on your screen, there's a good chance, if you probably take 5 minutes, you can actually understand what's happening on the screen there. And that's how easy it is, and that's how easy the concepts of machine learning are if you are willing to learn, and of course if you're willing to get trained in it. It's something definitely useful. A small graph such as this will have huge impacts on the businesses. And of course, with the usage of Weka, there's a lot of companies that make use of Weka, and that particular reason makes it very popular, and a lot of developers really are looking forward to this. And then the next important library we have is Java ML. It's also called as Java Machine Learning. As the name suggests, it's another very, very beautiful Java library to use for machine learning. It has really beautiful documentation. And in my opinion, if you ask me, documentation is something which is very important whenever you're learning anything, right? Even if it's not machine learning, even if it's artificial intelligence, even if it's deep learning or whatever it is, documentation is important, and Java ML provides amazing documentation. It has the capability to handle a lot of database activities as well, because with machine learning, one thing is that more the data, the better the machine learns, right? That's a common consensus. Now, talking about that, you really have to know how data works, and in fact, the library that you use should support easy data ingestion and data processing methodologies as well. In that particular case, Java ML definitely does that. And of course, the support for types of classification, we have clustering, and we have in detail implementation and workability in terms of data manipulation with the support from databases across multiple domains as well. And then the next one we have is the advanced data mining and the machine learning systems. This is another beautiful Java library we have out there for machine learning. It supports everything from data mining, complex data processing, data streaming, visualization, good documentation, and a lot of other things. See, now it's not like you have to learn all of these Java libraries to get started with your learning in terms of machine learning with Java. One thing is that all of these are like flavors of ice cream, right? So I cannot tell you, hey, just start picking up Weka and start working with it, or just pick up Java ML to work with it. To do that, to find something which is really good for you, you really have to put your hands into all of these to try for at least a beginner's level of learning, right? So in that particular case, once you get there, you will know what is for you. You will know what probably your company or your business expects to use, and of course, what best can take you from your problem statement to your solution. Based on that, you will be picking up one of these Java libraries, right? And in fact, another one we have is Apache Mahout. Again, Mahout saves a lot of time, a lot of processing power. It is a beautiful library to use. You can build amazing machine learning apps out there. It has support for multiple recommendation systems, clustering, and classification algorithms. Recommendation systems are extremely popular in today's world, be it if you're shopping on Amazon, watching a show on Netflix, even when you're browsing on your Instagram or Facebook timeline, you have a lot of recommendation systems and complex algorithms, extremely complex algorithms working in the back end to make sure it's bringing you the highest quality content that you like. It's whenever you think about any social media, it's all about providing the most personalized experience out there for you. And of course, they cannot cater to each and every one manually, right? And that's why machine learning is out there. Apache Mahart is one of these tools that provides you and your business the opportunity to actually go on to do this. And in that particular case, I think there's another beautiful Java library that definitely deserves some mention. Now, with that, coming to the next section of machine learning with Java, I'm sure you guys will have questions about how you can begin learning with machine learning for Java, right? So in that particular case, I have a couple of tips that you guys can use to start your learning. The first point on that was that you guys will definitely have is that do you require a degree in computer science to start working with Java machine learning? My answer to this, depends on all the companies that you see on your screen, right? See, you have IBM, you have Google, you have Apple, you have Tesla, Bank of America, Hilton. These are trillions of dollars worth of companies. Trillions. It's not billions anymore, it's trillions. All of these guys say we really do not want a computer science degree from you. You just have to be certified, you have to be trained, you have to have the skills to do it. And if you're really good at what you do, we're going to hire you. It's as good as this. And it's not just these 5 or 6 companies you see on your screen. There's thousands of other companies out there who are following in the footsteps of these companies because they realize that, there might be someone who picked up digital marketing for their degree of choice, and then they spent 1 or 2 years learning hard about machine learning, about Java and all of that. And now they're completely skilled, they're trained, and they're certified. Of course, right? So that's all they require. The degree is probably one of the requirements that you will have to clear. But upon that, the most important thing that's going to have a huge impact on your resume and your career is definitely going to be the skills that you have. So for that particular aspect of things, even if you do not have a computer science background, worry not. You can learn machine learning for Java in a very structured way for sure. So with that, my first tip for you guys whenever you learn machine learning is learn logic building. Very, very important thing that you really have to know even before you start programming is that take a problem statement, do not use machine learning, see how you can solve that problem if you were a human, and then try to think of how a machine can do it faster than you, and then think about how a machine can do it if you were not in the picture. See, using this kind of an approach that you take, a step-by-step 3 or 4 step approach that I call, will definitely help you understand how your machine is learning and understanding. See, machine learning, whenever you're discussing with probably a non-technical audience, it is very difficult to convey how machine learning works. But then, if you have the capability to know how the logic itself works, know how the weights are trained, know how the machine, actually learns, the process of learning is what gives its name. So, you knowing how the logic of this works and you knowing how you can attack problems and provide a solution out there is very important. So, my first tip for you guys, if you're looking towards learning Java machine learning, is learn logic building. The second thing is the foundational concept. And the second thing is that you really have to be thorough with the foundational concepts. Just like any other programming language, just like any other tools out there or anything with machine learning and deep learning in the picture, you really have to be extremely thorough with all the basics. Here we're talking about using Java, so you really need to know how Java works, how the object-oriented structures work, how looping works, and how the program flow itself works. Because if your foundation is pretty, one thing you really have to know is that if your foundation is not that strong, you will have a hard time coping up with how to use machine learning because the syntax can get complex and intimidating for a beginner, but it will be really easy if you know how to work your way through simple syntaxes. So in my opinion, I would highly suggest that you guys be thorough in all the basics of the programming language itself, understand how it works and what you do to the program and how that impacts on the output as well. So that's an important step that you can take in becoming experts in Java machine learning. And then after you've become thorough with the basics, after you understand the logic of how things work, the next thing is that, of course, we're talking about machine learning. So you have to learn the machine learning algorithms, right? So there's many types of machine learning out there. There's supervised learning, unsupervised learning, reinforcement learning. So you really have to know how these machine learning algorithms work and what sort of an algorithm should you use for your current problem to solve that, right? So you might have a classification problem at your hand. You might have to use regression multiple times. You might have to use a couple of reinforcement algorithms out there to train your machine into understanding things. So depending on what your requirement is, right, there is no one machine learning algorithm that's going to cater for every problem out there. No, that's not the case. So you will have to learn multiple algorithms because at the end of the day, if you know how these work, you will know how to solve it and how best you can approach problems and definitely solve them without you having to put much effort, right? See, if there is one problem, we can commonly agree that there might be 5 or 6 ways of how we can solve it. Now, if you know at least 3 or 4 ways among those 5 or 6 ways, of course, you're very skilled, you have the experience, and a lot of people will prefer having you because you have the capability to think more than just one way. So, if you're learning this, you have to learn the machine learning algorithms out there. And then, in my opinion, what adds the most value is if you have hands-on experience. See, hands-on experience is one of the most important things in any programming language out there, be it Java, be it Python, whatever it is, because with practical experience only you will learn. You cannot theoretically learn a programming language. That is one important thing that I have to tell you guys at this point of time. Of course, theoretical concepts will definitely get you across the foundationals. It is going to get you to an intermediate level of programming. But if you have not put in the time and the effort to actually go on to practically implement something that you have learned, your learning will not be complete, guys. So make sure that you have the hands-on experience that's required to learn any programming language out there. And my last tip for you guys is that have some sort of certification training in hand. See, these are concepts which can get a little intimidating if you're a beginner, and it can get tough if you're trying to learn on your own. With a good certification program, you will have a lot of advantages to you. You can have top-notch learning from experts across the globe. You can have very good support. You can have industry-level projects. You can have a career support as well. So considering all of that, I'm sure if you're at this point of time, you will know the value that a certification will add to your career, right? It's not only that you might want to do it. Sometimes you will have to do it because there will be corporate requirements that says, hey, if you have to get into this particular job, you need to be certified in this and this. You need to have cleared an examination, a certification examination in that. Well, to do all of that, you really need some sort of expertise, right? So for that, I think definitely a certification training program is the way to go for you guys to master Java, because this one investment that you do for your career is going to pay dividends for a really, really long time, for your entire career as well. So with that in mind, I think you guys will have a question saying, okay, so all that is good, but what's the average salary a machine learning developer who works with Java can expect? Well, a Java ML engineer has a beautiful salary terms. It's around $112,000 per annum in the US. It's around 7 lakhs per annum in India. And of course, it's around 58,000 pounds in the United Kingdom. Now, when you're thinking about these numbers, right, these are the average numbers that have been achieved across the globe. What you have to think about is that if you have the right skills, if you have the right training, and if you basically know machine learning and Java in and out, understand this. There are companies out there that's going to pay you the amount that you ask for no matter where you are in the entire world, because there is a huge demand for machine learning engineers today. And if you're very good at solving problems, because any IT concept we have is basically where we have a problem and we're using machines to solve it. And if you can do it in a very good way, no matter how small the companies, how big the companies, they will want you there, right? So having expertise in machine learning will give you an average salary of this, but you can you should not be surprised if you can get salaries 2 or 3 times this as well. So whenever you look at salaries, I would really suggest you have to know that it's the average salary numbers that are put up. You can either get a lot more than that, or of course, if you might not have all the experience required or the expertise, you can get a little less than the number shown here as well. But it's always, in my opinion, that people have got salaries more than the average of it, be it a beginner or an intermediate person with the right certification training program. So I would highly suggest you guys to look into that. And now the next question you might have saying, okay, so what are the career trends I can expect with machine learning for Java, right? You will start out by working as a Java machine learning associate. A couple of years down the line, you can become a machine learning product manager, where you're given the entire aspect of architecting a product, and managing an entire product with the use of machine learning. And at the end of it, a couple of years from there, you will grow towards becoming a machine learning architect. And as a machine learning architect, you will know the in and out of how machine learning works, how you use it to build a product, and how best it can be used with Java to provide provide solutions out there. So whenever we think about any of these career trends, that you really have to understand that there is beautiful growth right now as we speak, 2020, 2021 and beyond, with Java for machine learning. So I would highly suggest you guys check on it and understand that there are a lot of job opportunities right now. See, all the companies that you see on your screen use machine learning in one way or another. So there's a very good chance, all of these guys or a majority of these guys are right now in the middle of a pandemic, in a recession, hiring for machine learning engineers, because this is one of the jobs that's recession proof, because people really require that. There's a huge demand out there, and if people are not filling the demands, well, the companies will slow down, and they don't want that. So keeping all of that in mind, there's huge amount of job opportunities right now, and I would really suggest, right, see, all of these are facts until you verify them, right? So I definitely suggest after this video, you guys head to your favorite job hunting website, just type machine learning engineer or machine learning Java, find out how many thousands of jobs are there that's across the world. And if once you're trained and once you have the skills to apply for it, and you've put in the time and the effort to do it, I'm very sure that you guys out there, every one of you that's watching this video, who's made it to this point in the video at least, for sure that you guys will have the capability to get in there as well. So keeping that in mind, here are my final thoughts for this particular presentation. Here's a beautiful quote by Dave Waters. He says, "Computers are able to see, hear and learn. Welcome to the future." Well, that's a really beautiful quote, considering we are living around machine learning. We're living among the most powerful artificial intelligence and machine learning solutions out there that are in our phones, that are in our mobiles, that are in our homes, that are in our cars. That's in space, that's in airplanes. Wherever you think of it, there is machine learning. Even in the field of medicine, right? So in that particular case, this is a field that is probably just like flowering right now. Once it opens up into all of its beauty and extreme power of today's computing power we have right now, I would definitely think that this is a future that we really have to invest in. And if you've seen for the last 5-6 years, there's a huge jump where everyone wants to get towards machine learning. Why do you think that is? Because people realize the worth of this, and they realize that this is a bulletproof career to have, and understanding that you can have a huge impact in today's world as well. So considering that, I would definitely suggest you guys jump on the trend, check out Java for machine learning, and of course, become experts in these concepts and have a good effect on your career, and of course, an impact on today's world too. We hope this session on Java for machine learning was very informative for you all. If you have any comments, any suggestions or any content requests as well, make sure to head out to the comment section and do let us know. We'll be more than happy to help you out there. On that note, I hope all of you are keeping safe. I wish you well, and I'll see you in the next one.